Soccer has taken the world by storm this century. Stadiums have popped up everywhere. But let's be honest, some are about as inspiring as a parking lot. Let us take you on a real journey through truly unforgettable football stadiums that you may not have known existed. Timsah Park, Turkey. Imagine this. Underdog football team, Bursaspor, from Bursa, Turkey, shocks the nation in 2010 by winning the Super League trophy for the first time ever. They were only like the second team outside of Istanbul to achieve this incredible feature, and let's just say, the celebrations were epic. But there was a tiny wrinkle. Their old stadium, Bursa Metropolitan Stadium, felt a bit like a rusty crown for these newly crowned champions. It only sat a merely 25,000 fans, which wasn't quite the celebrity vibe they were going for. So, these champions, nicknamed the Green Crocodiles, decided to celebrate their win with a stadium that roared just as loud as their mascot. Picture this, a giant emerald crocodile head over 43 meters tall, guarding the north end of the arena. The rest of the stadium shimmered with green, scale-like panels made from glass, completing the whole reptilian look. Construction began in 2011, and by 2015, Timsah Arena, which means Crocodile Arena in Turkish, was ready to welcome fans. Things got a little twisty-turny over the years. In 2017, the naming rights were sold to a cryptocurrency company, Bitsy, and the stadium became Bitsy Timsah Park. Then, in 2023, the naming rights deal ended, and it went back to its original name. But wait, there's more. To celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Turkish Republic, it was officially renamed Centennial Ataturk Stadium. Despite all the official titles, fans still hold onto the name Timsah Park, because let's face it, it's way cooler. The stadium's design, well, that caused a bit of a stir. The giant crocodile head, complete with eyes, teeth, and scales, left some people speechless and others cracking up. But hey, love it or hate it, Timsah Arena stands tall as a symbol of Bursaspor's historic victory. And even though the mighty Crocodiles haven't brought home another league title since 2010, at least they have a stadium that's as unique as their nickname. The Float, Singapore. Singapore may be a small fry on the world map, more famous for its fancy buildings than its football fever. Imagine cramming 6 million people into a landmass smaller than Rhode Island. Finding space for a regular football pitch seemed like a total pipe dream, but Singaporeans, being the resourceful bunch they are, weren't about to give up. Back in 2007, something pretty darn cool popped up on Marina Bay. The Float. Yep, you guessed it. It's a football field that actually floats. Anchored on the Marina Reservoir, it's a genius way to use Singapore's harbor space. There's a 27,000-seater stand on the mainland where the crowd goes wild. And guess what? The float was supposed to be temporary, but it got so popular they decided to keep it for good, with plans to make it even better in the future. Designed by the brainiacs of Singapore's defense science people, you know, the super smart folks. The float can hold the weight of over 9,000 people. It's basically a real-life example of how cool thinking can overcome limitations. So the next time you think something can't be done, remember the tiny country with the floating football field. With a dash of creativity, anything is possible. Mmabatho Stadium, South Africa. Have you ever seen a stadium so weird it leaves you speechless? Not in a good way, though. I'm talking about the Mmabatho Stadium in South Africa. Built back in 1981 during apartheid. Yikes. This place holds a ton of people, 60,000 to be exact. They were probably trying to make an architectural masterpiece, but it ended up more like a giant question mark. Instead of your typical stadium design, they threw the rule book out the window and made things, well, strange. It's like the architects were feeling super adventurous that day, because watching a game here would mean craning your neck, and twisting like a pretzel to see anything. Not exactly ideal for cheering on your team. Turns out those super high up stands weren't exactly a genius idea, more like a major design fail. And guess what? The Mmabatho isn't alone in its weirdness. It has a twin stadium called ODI, which is basically falling apart now. Together, they're called the White Elephants, a funny reminder of a tough time in South Africa's history. These days, the only action the Mmabatho pitch sees is the occasional charity game or a neutral ground match. It's basically a stadium searching for a purpose, a conversation starter with a design that makes you scratch your head. Definitely not your typical football stadium, that's for sure. Gospin, Dolac, Croatia. Ever imagine watching a game perched right on the edge of a cliff with a view so incredible it might steal the spotlight? That's the magic of Gospin Dolac Stadium in Mmabatho, Croatia. Built in 1989, this 4,000-seater stadium isn't just home to a local team. It's a serious contender for the most scenic pitch on the planet. Sure, the stadium's named after a nearby church, but the real MVP here is the landscape. Tucked into a natural dome made of rock, Gospin Dolac boasts a jaw-dropping backdrop of cliffs that plunge a whopping 500 meters down to a turquoise lagoon. Imagine taking a corner kick with that view. Talk about pressure. The idea for this dream location goes way back to the 1950s, and construction started in 1976. It took over a decade to build this architectural wonder, but trust me, it was totally worth the wait. Gospin Dolac has been getting major props from BBC, Adi.com, and Copa 90 for its unique beauty and unreal setting. So, if you ever find yourself in Croatia and fancy a football match with a view you'll never forget, head straight to Mmabatho. Just one word of warning: the scenery is so stunning, you might miss the winning goal. Kenilworth Stadium, England. Ditch the fancy maps, football fans. A 20-minute walk west of Luton Station will land you at a stadium unlike any other in England. Forget giant, fancy arenas. Kenilworth Road, or the Kenny to the locals, is hidden in a quiet neighborhood, blending in like a chameleon. Imagine strolling down a street lined with cute terraced houses. Then wham! Out of nowhere, a massive football stand towers over the chimneys. It feels like a secret hideout, a world away from the hustle and bustle of Luton. But the real weirdness is for the away fans. Here, the Oak Road stand is practically glued to a row of red brick houses. The gates leading into the away section, they're literally squeezed between houses. Gate 67 separates number 91 from its neighbor 87, and Gate 8 sits cozy between 99 and 103. Fancy catching a game where your neighbors might be the opposite team's most hardcore fans. Kenilworth Road is your place. National Stadium, Taiwan. Tired of stadiums that guzzle energy like nobody's business? Well, buckle up, because Taiwan's National Stadium in Kaohsiung is here to blow your mind. Forget recycled materials. This stadium's roof is basically a giant solar panel farm. It cooks up so much clean energy, it powers the whole stadium and lights up the neighborhood. Designed by rockstar architect Toyo Ito and unveiled in 2009, this stadium is more than just green. It's a dragon in disguise. The solar panels shimmer like a sleeping dragon's scales, making it a total looker. But this ain't just about aesthetics. These clever architects teamed up with the weather bureau to leave one end open. Why? To catch those sweet summer breezes, acting like a giant natural air conditioner for the crowd. No need for energy-sucking AC here. The roof also helps keep things cool, and they even have a system to recycle rainwater. Pretty sweet, right? The Kaohsiung National Stadium is a champion for sustainability, showing us how future stadiums can be built without trashing the planet. It's a win-win for clean energy, awesome design, and happy and cool sports fans. So next time you're looking for an eco-friendly stadium, to cheer on your team, set your sights on Kaohsiung. Imagine cruising through the Bavarian countryside when bam, you slam on the brakes because out of nowhere, this giant puffy building appears. It looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. That, my friend, is the Allianz Arena. They built this inflatable marvel in 2005, and let me tell you, it caused a stir. Some folks thought it was an eyesore, but others loved its modern vibe. It can hold a whopping 75,000 screaming fans, making it the perfect kingdom for the mighty Bayern Munich, the kings of European football. Originally, they shared this palace with their local rivals, 1860 Munich. Back then, the place came alive with the stadium lighting up in dazzling colors. Red for Bayern, blue for 1860 Munich. Talk about a light show. But it's not just a club hangout. When the German national team plays, the whole stadium transforms into a giant German flag, a symbol of national pride so bright you can see it from the Austrian Alps, 80 kilometers away. Pretty cool, right? The Allianz Arena might have sparked some debate, but there's no denying it's a one-of-a-kind stadium, inspiring others around the world, like the MetLife Stadium in the US. So, next time you're in Munich, ditch the boring museums and check out this inflatable wonder. What other crazy stadiums do you know? Let us know in the comments below, and see you in the next video.